3, 2, 1.
Hit it. Experience 24 hours of head-to-head AWS sessions from around the world.
Mic check, 1, 2.
Jaws PANKRATION 2021. Up till down.
Hi, welcome to London. My name is Danilo, and I'm part of the developer relations team in AWS. Today, I want to show you how you can use the same container images with serverless functions and traditional containers. First of all, why should you use container images with serverless functions? Probably because you know containers very well. You already use the container tooling that you have, and also to manage dependencies. With AWS Lambda, for example, you can have container images as big as 10 gigabytes in size. To use a container image, you should create a Docker file that will package your code with all the dependencies. You can start with one of the base container images that we provide. And you can add your own code, and you should finish with a command that is the Lambda function handler. The handler is the user syntax, file name, dot name of the function inside the file that Lambda should invoke. You can test your container images locally with the Docker CLI. You can pass environment variables and also AWS credentials. For example, if your code is accessing other AWS services. All our base container images are shared in this public gallery. And there are also container images for Lambda functions that use the ARM processor to execute your code. This can be a good way to save some money and also to improve your performance. Which tools can you use to simplify using container images with functions? With AWS SAM, you can use image config in your templates to pass the container image to use. With the AWS Cloud Development Kit, you can create a Docker image code construct that is implementing the function with the Docker image for you. With the serverless framework, you can create a provider, AWS in this case, and then you can share the image inside your functions instead of the code. Now let's see the important part of this session. How to use the same container images with functions and traditional containers. One way could be to just have the same code and then build two container images, one for AWS Lambda, for example, and one for your container environment. But I prefer to create a single container image that can then be used by AWS Lambda for its functions and for your container environment on AWS or whatever you want. To do so, you need some way to transform a web application into something that can run into a Lambda function. There are many tools to do so. For example, for Node.js, there is the serverless Express that can take an Express web app and transform into something that can run into a function with the API gateway to provide the web interface. With Python, there are many tools. The one that I know better is Zappa. You can take a Django application and transform it with Zappa into something that can run into a Lambda function. With Java, there is the serverless Java container framework. You can take a Spring application or a Spring Boot app and have it run into Lambda. For Java, you should also consider performance. Have a look at using the Graal VM with Lambda. It could be a good way to speed up your code. So now let's see a demo of how this actually works. This is the code of a Node.js Express application. If I go to the URL / I get an hello world. If I go to /gallery, I get a redirect to a static page with some images that I put into the code. The only dependency of this function is the Express module. This is the Docker file for a normal web application. It's just using a Node image. It's copying your code, and then it's installing all dependencies. The command runs node with the name of the source file. This is a Lambda function wrapping the web application using serverless Express. It's really just one line of code. This time, the dependencies are both Express and the serverless Express module. And this is the Docker file for this Lambda function. This time, we're using one of the base images that we provide. Then we're copying the code of the application and the code of the function. And the handler is the name of the file and the function to be executed by AWS Lambda. If you notice, this Docker file contains the full web application plus the code that you need to run on Lambda. Because of that, you can use this container to run on Lambda, but also to run as a traditional container. You just need to replace the command and the port. Let's see how that works. This is Amazon ECR, a container repository, where I uploaded the image that I created with the latest Docker file that I show. Using this container image, I created a task running on AWS Fargate. This is the public IP of the container. And this is the container running. Let's see the gallery. And this is the static content that I packaged into the container. We can see a few images, for example. And it works as expected. This is a traditional container. Let's see what happens with Lambda. This is a Lambda function using the same exact container image. And I'm using the API gateway to provide a web interface. Here is the URL of the API gateway. And here you can see that I'm just calling the API gateway as a traditional web app. Again, let's have a look at the gallery. And the gallery is exactly the same as before. You can see a few of the images that I took during a random walk. So let's go back to the code for 1 second. So this is the container that is prepared to run on Lambda. To use it with a traditional web app, I just had to change the command. So replacing the command to run the node executable with your code. Again, it's one change in the configuration, and the same container image can be used in both scenarios. The code of this demo is fully available in this GitHub repo. So please jump here and ask me questions and comment if you like. The application code is very simple, so it's not really the important part of this demo. But the interesting part is that you can use this for any API or any web application that you have. So which are the takeaways of this presentation? Using container images can be handy with serverless functions if you already use containers in other part of your application. If you already use containers tooling and containers are part of your development workflow. Container images can really simplify managing large dependencies. You have up to 10 GB of space with container images on AWS Lambda. With container images, it's also much easier to manage dependencies that are outside of the runtime. For example, if you need to manage dependencies that are in the operating system, something that you want to install at this Linux distribution level, for example. If you just check how you package your code and the handler you use, you can use the same container images, simplifying your workflow and also simplifying your security. If you use a repository like Amazon ECR, you can also scan the images as they are loaded for any security issue. This can be really helpful too. So that's what I wanted to share today. Thank you, and give me your feedback on Twitter. My alias on Twitter is Danilo, and let me know if you like this. And also, if you want, I will share the link of the demo there for you. Thank you. Arigato.
Music's loud and I'm feeling alright. It's slow motion, but it's just you and I. Yet the burn makes you feel so alive. I'm living the moment till you know it tonight. We're here now, let's party together. Let's live like tonight is forever. We're here now, let's party together. Let's live like tonight is forever. Let the rhythm move us, yeah baby, take it too far. You're at the center of my attention, yeah you got me so lost. I love the way that you move and how the